Let's see. Fingers crossed. Okay, cool.
Anyway,
Yeah,
welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Rough start. Trying to get this shit straight. Straight enough.
Hey, honestly, I'll be honest. Next week's going to be great as well. We have a huge pay-per-view card coming up next week, the lightweight title of the world. But with all that, I say that just to note that I thought this card was really fun, man. Like, super fun.
This card was fun, and it didn't drag on and on. You know, it was, 11 fights?
11 fights is the perfect number, man.
And the main event, it's honestly like I have a hard time remembering any other fight. The main event stole the show, which is like what you want, right? Like in a perfect world, that's what would always happen. There's so many times where like the prelims steal the show, and that's fun in its own way or whatever. Or like, you know, a people's main event like Hamzat and Gilbert, but they draw it up. How they draw it up, like according to the play, it's supposed to be the main event still in the show, and that's what we got. So that's always a good time. I mean, the division implications in our favorite division. We always jokingly say the bantamweight breakdown. We love our bantamweights here on the Beefy Boys breakdown, and episode 86 here, talking Rob Font, Cheeto Vera. Going to jump in at the prelims first. There was some relevant fights on these prelims. I mean, it wasn't. You know what I mean?
Especially the prelim main event was a super fun one. I mean, obviously the odds are going to determine that wasn't going to be competitive, but I love watching it, though. Yeah, like I love watching Romanov fight, and Chase Sherman just looks so scared from the rip. Yeah, like was that not a we'll get there, but that's my immediate takeaway from the prelims is Chase Sherman legitimately looks scared in his corner.
Well, because he pulled out of the fight literally last week, right? And they rescheduled it for this week. So, like, you got to wonder, was there still an injury? Did he cancel the first time because he was scared and he had to face the music? What's going on there? But yeah, starting off the card, I mean, you got Gina Mazzani out jerking the curtain. And, I mean, anytime you get a name that you recognize on the first fight of the night, I mean, it can definitely be worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no joke.
So we got Gina Mazzani coming in at minus 190 against Shauna Young at plus 160 in the women's flyweight division. And, man, in round one, Mazzani looked awesome, man. She looked great. I mean, she was landing some good body kicks. She was getting the clinch control, and she actually dropped Shanna Young with the knee. So, I mean, round one
I was Titus falling off my bed. Literally fell.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I love when dogs are uncoordinated. But yeah, Gina Mazzani looked good in round one. I mean, round one couldn't have pretty much gone much better than how – she probably couldn't have drew it up much better than it went for Mazzani in round one.
No, yeah, I would agree with that, man. I also learned from the broadcast team, so shout out to them, that Tim Elliott's her boyfriend or fiance or husband, whatever it may be. So I always love it when you see UFC couples. That's always cool to me. Yeah, man, I thought that
the same weight class, right? Tim Elliott's a flyweight.
Yeah.
How often do you see that?
Yeah.
I mean,
and they're both like tattooed up with like weird tats and stuff. I was like, all right, like, cool. I thought that Mazzani's striking proficiency combined with her takedown defense essentially allowed her to just do almost whatever she wanted to Shanna Young.
Yeah, man, but it was just like a tale of two halves, man, because, I mean, in round two, really, Mazzani shot in for like a takedown, and it was essentially successful. But like, Young kind of reversed it. They kind of bounced off the mat, turned it into a scramble, and Young ended up taking the back of Mazzani, which kind of, I don't know. You could say it came out of nowhere. Or you could say it's a hell of a halftime adjustment in between rounds.
It felt like a beginning of the end, you know what I mean? Like, as soon as she hit that takedown and then got reversed, it was like, oh, no, you just gave Shanna Young the thing she needed to be successful here.
Yeah, and credit to Shanna Young. You know, she capitalized on it and made the most of it, flattened her out and ground and pounded her out. And it was pretty impressive. Just the reverse, maybe there's a little luck going on, you know, obviously technique too, but, you know, different ways to interpret it. But once she had it, she made no mistake. She went for the finish and she got the finish. She executed.
Yeah, I was honestly more surprised by anything that she got the back and was able to finish with the ground and pound so fast. Like, I felt like usually, you know, when you fall into a position like that, you aren't quite ready to be so successful in that position because it's taken by surprise. She was completely ready, man.
Yeah, and I respect that. Like what did they say? Luck is when opportunity meets preparation or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. If you like, she made the most of it once she got it, which, is what the fight game's all about, improvising on the fly, making the most out of situations, reading, real-time reactions. But yeah, Shannon Young gets the win, plus 160, so nice little underdog cash for anybody that had that. I don't know how many did, but but yeah, man.
Yeah, and then, I'm not to just walk past these women, but I will say for both of them, the kind of back-end fighters, you know what I mean? It's not like I have this crazy expectation of where they're going to be or what they're going to do in the future. So it kind of does curtail our conversation over them. But I will say the actual fight they put on is fun. I don't, it's not stuck down to either woman. Like, I enjoy watching Mazany fight still.
And she looked good. Like, that first round was awesome. She looked great.
Yeah, literally, made one. And what's terrible is like she initiated that takedown, got it, and then just didn't hold control and was reversed. So it's almost like, man, you made one mistake and lost the fight. I'm not going to hold that as deeply against you as if you had just lost on every aspect.
Lost one position, if you think about it. You know what
Seriously,
I mean? So it's weird how MMA fights break down like that. No, for sure. And then for Shannon Young, a pretty good name on the old resume, but still a lot of work to do, a lot of heavy lifting to do. And exactly, still work to do there to move up the flyweight division. But yeah, this next fight, man, was a fucking banger. I'm honestly, I didn't do my bonus homework this week. Did this next fight get a bonus either guy?
That is a great question. I have it right here. Let me go to it.
We got Natan Levy, minus 220, fighting Mike Breeden, plus 180 underdog in the men's lightweight division. And, this fight, these boys got after it. I mean, like I said, it was entertaining enough that I'm having Harrison look up whether or not they got a bonus, because just eye test or, gut feeling wise, it felt like you were watching a bonus worthy fight.
It was not a bonus, but wow. I don't think you'll be mad at the ones that are bonuses.
Okay, fair enough. But like I said, that was just really to say that this fight was very entertaining, and I thought these boys got after it. Yeah,
honestly, man, I have this really, I don't know why, but Natan Levy, I have this really I don't know high thought of him. Every time I see his name, I can picture him he has that crazy good physique, he's from Israel or wherever it is. Yeah. So he kind of stands out as one of the only dudes that's from there. Funny enough, he mentioned the Holocaust after the fight, which we'll get to. But yeah, for some reason, man, I have great name recognition with him, and I don't know why.
He's your Rafa Garcia. How I feel about
he literally fought Rafa Garcia in his last fight.
Right. Yeah, man,
and lost a split decision.
My guy, Rafa. But no, I feel you, man. He does kind of stand out. He is absolutely shredded, and he is very athletic, and he has some good striking. Mike Breeden, more of a workman approach, kind of lunch pail kind of guy. But man, each round I thought was close. And kind of worth talking about. We got to go kind of round by round here because, round one I thought was probably the hardest to score. I ended up leaning 10-9 Levy because at the very end of the round he got that takedown. And then, he had some control with it, some good striking. He need Levy low, but no point was deducted because you get one freebie, as everybody knows. Breeden had good pressure in that first round, and he was catching some of Levy's kicks. But I like Levy's work in round one. How'd you see it?
Man, so I thought that Levy's takedown with about a minute left essentially kind of edged out the round for him, in my opinion, because I thought it was so close. And he didn't even have the most control with that takedown, but it was just enough for me to be like, if they're even in this aspect of striking, standing, ring control, then I have to go with actual physical control or a takedown if there is one, and there happens to be that. So it was almost like default that takedown.
A tiebreaker.
Yeah, if either guy had gotten it, it would have won them the round. It was literally the tiebreaker takedown.
I couldn't agree more, for sure. I saw it the exact same way, and it seems like most of the judges did as well.
Also, I noted Breeden was throwing heat. Everything he threw with very lethal intent.
Yeah, and Breeden reminds me kind of a throwback fighter, man.
Me too. Very tough. Won't stop going forward. A lot of power, but at the end of the day, it's the technique is kind of lacking for him to be that reckless in certain scenarios.
Yeah, kind of reckless. Probably like a C+ athlete. Not breaking any combine records anytime soon. You know what I mean? But just tough. Yeah, no, for sure. Because round two, was a full-blown banger, man. These boys were touching each other up. Each guy was having plenty of success. Once again, and it's crazy, you think of Levy as the striker. In my head, I mean, these takedowns were essentially winning in the rounds. The takedowns, his clinch, and his kicks, where that's more the strike. That's what I think of more when I think of Levy in my mind's eye, is the kicks. And he did use that. But it's almost like, as you hear people say, like he was either all the way in or all the way out, which is a good strategy as a fighter, especially his range.
I was going to say he did try a few like spinning hook kicks, spinning heel kicks, a few like flashy kicks that I think he thought Breeden would rush into. Breeden did a good job of keeping his range and fighting it at the place he wanted to be fighting him at, whereas Levy was doing a better job of being in and out when he wanted to be.
Yeah, and I think Breeden had the better cardio. I mean, his pressure and just every time he got taken down, he would get right back up. Like, and he had really good defense, but I think Levy was just putting him on the defensive in round 2. Like, Breeden was answering, he was getting up, he was doing all the things that you would want your fighter to do, but he wasn't making Levy have to do those things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Levy having to make him do those things.
That's so right, is that he was always responding to something Levy was forcing him to combat, rather than him forcing Levy to deal with what he was doing to him.
Yeah, and so, like, yeah, it was a tough round. I mean, it was a competitive round, but I think we both see it for Levy, right? So we're both 2018 Levy, albeit a barn burner of a 2018.
Yeah, see, that's what's crazy about this fight, and there's another one that's just like this, at least for the way I scored it, when we'll get to it on the main card. But I had this at 2018, but as far as, like, this fight could be over at any moment from one of these guys connecting, and or I could see maybe someone leaning around off to Breeden somehow in the first if you just don't value takedowns that much.
Exactly.
I can almost see it to the point where it's like, well, this third round is going to be a do-or-die round. Even though I've scored 2018, wasn't that far apart.
I felt the exact same way. I was like, I have it at 2018, but who knows what the judges have it. And I felt like Breeden...
There was some squirrely judging last night, too.
Yeah, and I felt like Breeden had the better cardio, which is the great equalizer in round 3. So I was like, but going into round 3, I was like, buckle up, boys, strap in. Because, I think we knew what we were in for in round 3, and we got it. It delivered. Another banger of a round.
And you're so right with the cardio thing, man, because with 3 minutes to go in the round, Levy is looking at the clock, like, visibly gassed. That's not to say Breeden's not gassed, but he clearly has that mental difference where he's, like, just an animal all the time.
Wearing it differently, you know what I mean? Better body language for sure, and good pressure moving forward. Levy looked like he was trying to burn some clock. I think Levy scored his own. I think Levy pulled an Aljamain Sterling. I think he knew he was up 2 rounds. I think he was trying to burn out that third, which is a dangerous game to play.
It's such a dangerous game to play. But when it works, it's beautiful.
And I did give round 3 to Breeden in kind of a too little, too late fashion. You know what I'm saying? Did you as well?
Yeah, so I did. I thought Breeden took round 3. Both guys were exhausted. I thought Levy landed some actually really nice combinations at the end of round 3, which surprised the hell out of me considering how tired he was.
Yes.
But it was almost like he was saving up to try and like put it on Breeden at the very end just to maybe be able to save his day. And it didn't save the round, but maybe it was enough to save him from Breeden going full onslaught for 30, 45 seconds to close the fight. So I scored at 29-28 Levy, and I feel like he just was point fighting the third round.
Me too, exactly. It was a nice little flurry at the end, but it's like Breeden defended it relatively well, and it's like it wasn't enough to steal the round. He didn't drop him. He didn't knock him out. You know what I mean? It's kind of a little too late. But yeah, I scored it the same as you. 2 judges agreed with us. 1 judge scored it 30-27 Levy, which, you know, it's a little questionable, but I don't hate it because I did find myself asking the question. Like with that little late barrage from Levy, I was like, did that steal the round? So the fact that it made me ask the question, you know, I guess I'll give that judge a pass. It's not egregious.
I think that's fair. I think it's one of those things where I disagree with that score. I can kind of see how you get there, but end of the day, the right man wins the fight, so I'm not going to be upset about it.
100% agree. And yeah, Levy looked good because, like I said, man, when you think of Levy, when most people think of Levy, you're thinking of his striking. He was able to get takedowns on a tough guy like Breeden, and now his control time was terrible. He couldn't keep him down, but he was able to get him down. And as a striker, you start getting guys thinking about takedowns. You know, watching film of you taking guys down. Good fighter. Now he's in the lightweight division, which is just stacked, and it's full of good wrestlers. So it's kind of tough, kind of like how you felt about the last two ladies. I kind of feel about these two guys like, yeah, good fight, good performance from both guys, but in the pecking order of the absolute, lion's den of lightweights, I just don't know. It's hard to get too dauber up. You know what I mean?
I totally agree with you on that in the sense that, I mean, Levy is young, and he is a Dana White Contender Series guy, so there's a great chance they're going to try to build him in a super smooth fashion. But, man, as far as what I see their in-game being in this division, neither guy is in that top 10.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. But tough nights out for sure, man. And we'll keep it pushing to Gabe Green versus Johann Linus.
Linus.
I wasn't too familiar with either one of these guys, to be completely honest with you, man. We got Gabe Green coming in at minus 130, Johann coming in at plus 110 in the welterweight division. And yeah, man, how'd you feel about this fight coming into it?
Man, so coming into it straight off the top, I really didn't feel any type of way, but as they started commenting on the fight and they were talking about how Gabe Green couldn't catch a ball when it was thrown at him because his eyesight was so bad and that he had almost zero depth perception and stuff, I was like, how the hell did he even make it to be a fighter? Like, how is this a thing? And then apparently he had LASIK, fixed his eyes, and you could kind of tell, I thought, in this fight. Now, that's not to say that Johann Linus didn't do a good job in the fight, especially early on. I thought early on he looked great, but man, I just remember Gabe Green not being anything like the fighter he was this time from the first time we had seen him, which to me shows not only improvement, but like we had talked about with whenever you make those physical, and this is right back to our conversation last week, when you actually make a real recovery from an injury, how does that affect who you become as a fighter? And most often it changes for the better.
Yeah, for sure, man. Great points there. But yeah, man, I mean, Johann looked good in round one. I mean, I was thinking about maybe 10-8 because he hurt him twice. Yeah. I didn't go there, though. I didn't. I gave it 10-9 because he didn't drop him. Good chin on Gabe Green. But he hit Gabe Green with two, potentially fight-ending shots and definitely wobbled Gabe Green twice, plus got a takedown on top of it. I thought we were getting close to a 10-8 there. I said I didn't pull the trigger on it. But
and Gabe Green's leg chin was pretty good because he was eating some mean leg kicks, too.
The leg chin, I love that term. But you're right. That's like a real thing. Certain guys eat leg kicks better than others. Once again, bringing it back to last week, Villanueva.
He cannot eat a kick like that. Glass leg chin.
But no, great point. And then, man, and keep it pushing to ground two, like as we said, round two. All the momentum's with Johann. Everything's looking like it's going Johann's way, and then just comeback of all comebacks for Gabe Green in round two, man. Dropped Johann with a body shot, and then finished him off, man. I mean, it was impressive.
The body shots were nice too. Like you could tell he landed the one, and he felt the connection that it made. Like you could tell he in his head was like, "Oh, that one hit deep," and he kept hitting it until finally INS dropped, and I was like, "Oh, that was like." It's bad when you see someone get the one liver shot that drops them. It's worse, in my opinion, when you see me like four and then they drop, because I'm like, that's just an accumulation on your internal organs.
Yeah, no, he was just beating him like Rocky fucking hitting the goddamn.
Yeah, the Russian.
Goddamn. Just going to the body, just really twerking it in there, really putting everything to the body shot, which, yeah, it worked to, great. Obviously got him the win, got him the finish, round two TKO.
And credit to him too for weathering that storm. Like Linus,
because he got dropped
obviously
again in round two. I forgot to mention Linus dropped him again before the body shot.
Right in the start of the round. Yeah, and Gabe Green obviously has a chin, but I mean more than his chin, man. I think he just literally weathered the storm. Like you could tell almost by the way he poured it on as soon as he got the advantage spot and just started pouring it on. I was like, oh, this guy's been waiting to get to this point.
Yeah, definitely had that killer instinct. I mean, and then anytime you talk about a guy finishing a guy with punches to the body, I mean, that's real power. I mean, it's a less obvious kind of power than sending a guy's jaw sideways. But I mean,
kind of a more precise power, too, to hit him in the right spot on the body.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot less common, right? A lot less guys are able to do that. And, I mean, Johann fought a good fight. I mean, a lot of guys not named Gabe Green potentially are knocked out, separate times in that fight. You know what I mean? He was landing, those shots that you were like, would want to land. And he's a guy that I think prides himself on his power. So it's like, I think he fought the fight he wanted to fight. I don't know how many guys could eat those body shots. It's like, I'm not trying to make excuses for Johann by any stretch. He definitely lost fair and square, but I think it's kind of like each guy has some things to be happy about, and each guy has plenty of things to work on out of this one. You know what I'm saying? I think it's fair to say. Because, like, Gabe Green needs to work on that striking defense out of the like, for sure. Because, I mean, there's a lot better strikers than Johann Linus in the welterweight division, and he was getting his chin touched, like, repeatedly. So, I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? Great win. Yeah, you got the second round knockout, but it's probably hard for Gabe Green to come away feeling like super good about that performance unless he's just like on some like delusional Nate Diaz shit.
No, yeah, exactly. Now, let me ask you this about the first 6 fighters that we just watched here on this card. Because I think in the next 4 fighters, the names get way more recognizable, way more valuable to the UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even still, importance is obviously gained and then measured as you continue to win. Well, what I'm getting at here is that I feel like these first 6 fighters, usually in their first 3 fights in the prelims, regardless of the length, whether it's 15-fight card, 11-fight card, whatever it may be, usually you have some young up-and-comers that you really are like trying to like start off on the right foot. I didn't really get that feeling from any of these fights, man. I kind of Levy, but they don't really put any hype in him.
Yeah. Everything you're saying there, I think they kind of like everything. If they take everything you just like mentioned there and just replaced it with, I guess, the name cachet of Gina Mazzani, I think is maybe what they were doing there.
I guess, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because I just felt like there wasn't any build on any of these 3 fights. Like, no one was really going to go anywhere huge off of any of these wins.
I think maybe if Johann Linus wins or maybe gets him with a flashy knockout that he almost got, maybe we're talking about him a little differently. Maybe we're shoveling a little more on that hype train.
It's fair, yeah, because I didn't know.
I think maybe this was set up for Levy, and then Breeden just gave him all his money's worth. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, he was a minus 220, and that was a way closer fight than that.
Definitely closer than 220, but, like, 220 is still respectable.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with knowing what we know about the UFC, like.
Well, and in the next fight, I guess you could try to say that they're trying to build Daniel Da Silva off of Francisco Figueiredo's name because he gets a name just because his brother is the champion, right?
Yeah. I mean, I could say the same thing that Figueiredo keeps getting the wins. I think he will get a quick push. So I think there's a little juice on this next fight.
Now, exactly right. I think this next fight is where we actually get the juice, right? Like. So 125, we have Daniel Da Silva, minus 125 favorite over Francisco Figueiredo, who's the younger brother of Davison Figueiredo.
And I got to say, I didn't hit the sports book this week. I did like this underdog bet slide, obviously plus 105, not, saying anything too crazy, but I did like Francisco at plus 105. I thought that would have been a dope parlay builder.
Well, you would have crushed it because I'm not even sure the official time. Let's see. The official time of that is 118.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's Figueiredo getting taken down. Let me mute that. Sorry, ESPN, trying to play videos. But yeah, for Figueiredo, man, this was a fight where I thought it was just a showcase of his jiu-jitsu that no one ever really talks about.
Yeah, I'll be real. He ends up getting the sub by knee bar. I mean, not going to beat her on the bush. This fight lasted 1 minute and 18 seconds. Essentially, Da Silva went for a takedown, ended up
essentially got it. Figueiredo was okay to go into the guard with him. Like, it looked like Figueiredo was surprised by the shot and then just said, "All right, we'll play some jiu-jitsu here," and goes for the arm bar or omoplata, whatever he was going to get with his legs. Doesn't get it, but gets it where. Da Silva has to 180 transition, and as he's spinning around to get his arm free, posts his leg right next to Figueiredo. Figueiredo did something really cool, too. Whenever he grabbed the knee bar, he grabbed his other foot and sucked his hips up with both of his legs, which I've never seen anyone do. He didn't just grab the leg and crank the leg. He grabbed both legs and pulled his legs up and then let him, slid his arm off the top leg and caught the other one to go to the knee bar.
Wow. Yeah, no, it was a sick knee bar. A minute and 18 seconds in, and I'm assuming this one did get a bonus?
Yes. So this is going to be the first bonus of the night. I think so deserved. This submission was flashy. It was instinctively hit. You know what I mean? Like it had to be. It had to be pure instinct because it happened in the flash of an eye.
Like an animal, like a fucking crocodile snatching a deer. Like the way he snatched it up and rolled and cranked just all in one fluid motion. Yeah, no. Yeah, I feel you. And then the fact that he was an underdog too, got it done. Man, I don't know, man. Like I said, I like him in the flyweight division, mainly because the flyweight division's so thin. They need bodies, they need talent, they need youth. I think he checks a lot of those boxes. He's going to get the name push, which is
right. I was going to say, interesting to be the brother of the champion in the same weight class. Normally, you see brothers separate their weight class.
You usually see that, like Pitbull and his brother over in Bellator. You know what I mean? Situations like that.
The Diaz brothers. I could easily see though. Davis and Figueiredo going up to 35.
Yes, I was about to say, especially because I mean, as Francisco, great win. Glad he got the bonus. Still a couple wins away from like really super relevant fights and even being in that conversation. And how many more times do we think Davis is going to fight at flyweight? Once, maybe.
I mean, max. I would say if he beats Moreno in their fourth fight,
he may retire.
Yeah, or say that like I'm done with this division. I've proven I'm the best here. Like I'd like to go up and challenge 135. And if that happens at the right time, he might be able to make that move into 35 because 35 is kind of starting to get to the point where we'll talk about it after the main event, obviously tonight, and break down 35 deeply. But when we do that, for anyone that's watching this that wants to see that, I'm sure it'll become a clip as well. 135 is going to be pretty interesting.
Oh, super interesting for sure. So yeah, you're right. I could see it's going to end up being an issue there. Like I think, by the time if Francisco makes his way to the top of the division, I think his brother will be either up a weight class or retired. I do believe that. But yeah, I mean, exciting prospects there because I mean the jiu-jitsu is nasty. I mean, like I said, he has the championship bloodline, which, like I said, I mean, so does Antonina Shevchenko. So you can't always, do 1 + 1 = 2 there. But I don't know. I think Francisco's better than Antonina, like relative to the metaphor.
Yeah, and I don't think Davison as good as Valentina, right? Like the gap between those two brothers is not near as vast as the gap between those sisters, and that's because of both the brothers being as good as they are, and also because Valentina is literally so much better than all the other women, and Antonina is just in the middle.
Yeah, for sure, man. But yeah, I'm excited about Francisco. I said I like this plus 105 bet going into this. Obviously, I like the performance. I mean, there's only so much you can say about a fight that lasts a minute and 18 seconds. Daniel Da Silva, I think he kind of fumbled a bag there. You know what I mean? I thought he could have built himself up off that name. He was favored. No really any excuses there. And it looks like maybe he might, like that Nevar looked like it maybe did a little something. So
I wonder if he's in Oliveira's camp, by the way, or trains in the same place because he does the whole whiteout thing, like bleaching all of his hair.
Maybe, I don't know, man. Maybe
I wondered about that.
They do, yeah. Good question, man. But let's keep it pushing to Romanov here because we may have a real guy here. We may have
for sure he is. For sure. I expect him to go up in top 10 and be a top 10 guy for the rest of his career.
I'm feeling that too. We got Alexandr Romanov coming in undefeated 15-0 and a minus 2,200.
Jesus, biggest favorite ever in the UFC.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Officially the biggest ever.
Pretty sure.
Oh, my God.
In men's. I believe Nunes has been a higher favorite, but I don't believe any man has ever been a bigger favorite.
Wow. And then fighting Chase Sherman at plus 1,100.
I mean, Vegas opened this at minus 700, so do you know how much money they lost?
Yeah. No, yeah, people came in, which you know how crazy that is, like to come in at minus 700 confidently, like
that confidently. By the time of the fight last week, it was minus 1,600, and Vegas just rolled the odds for another week, and it still went up 600 more.
Yeah, there had to be like multiple like 6-figure bets coming in. You know what I'm saying? Like there had to be like maybe like Russian oligarchs or like something. I don't know, but
yeah, dudes that are literally going to bet $100,000 or $1 million just to literally win back 22,000 or 2,200. Like, crazy.
That's very crazy. Yeah, for sure, man. But yeah, so big, obviously huge money line here. Obviously, the story here isn't going to be about how competitive this fight is or how there's a lot of X's and O's here, but we really just got to talk about Romanov. I mean, he gets the round one sub. We can get the X's and O's out of the way.
His suplex, whenever he got his belly on Chase Sherman's back and lifted him over his shoulder and followed over the top. He's a beautiful Greco-Roman wrestler. Like, that dude's Olympic level Greco.
And it's a skill level. It's a skill set that really, especially with Cormier being gone now, and
exactly. I'm so glad you said that.
It's whatever's going on with John Jones and Stipe. Really, name another dope wrestler. I mean, Curtis Blades, right?
But his wrestling is so different,
right? Like, he's more freestyle than Greco. But I'm just talking about wrestlers in the heavyweight division. I mean, there's not a long list. It's obviously a striking heavy division. You know what I mean? You got your
because power's such a differentiation for heavyweights, man. Because when you're that heavy, anything you throw can put the guy's lights out.
And then you got your jiu-jitsu, your Aspinalls, and other guys. But as far as like wrestling, you're talking Romanov, you're talking Curtis Blades. Obviously, there's probably somebody we're missing, but
I mean, I guess you could have said like Blagoy Ivanov whenever he was ranked.
Sergey Pavlovich, can wrestle.
Yeah, so like there's definitely some guys that like want to wrestle you in heavyweight. But man, whenever I think about those guys wrestling in comparison to the way that Romanov wrestles, I mean, he's just going to dog him. Even Blades, I think, would have trouble wrestling.
And that's interesting. That's very interesting. How long did this fight last?
2 minutes and 11 seconds.
In 2 minutes and 11 seconds, he got 3 takedowns and some of the best ground and pound I've seen. He ends up finishing him with a sub. I think that was like some Khabib just engaging mercy. Because
the hooks, whenever he got full mount and pressed his head to the cage where he couldn't posture and move his head, were just brutal.
Yeah, no, the big ground and pound, which I love to see. You know what I mean? He's not like a boring, like just lay on you type of guy. Did you notice
Romanov's physique looked so good in this fight compared to when he entered the UFC? I believe his first fight was 254. He weighed in at this one 236.
Wow, and he looks so much bigger than that. I thought he was going to be 250. He looks 250.
Yeah,
which I think we're saying that's a compliment.
Yeah, like
237 or whatever.
Exactly. And like, if he keeps getting his physique down, bro, I don't know. He might be a guy that could go down to 205. I don't think he even should.
I don't think he should. Yeah, no, because he's ragged on these heavyweights. So
that's what I mean. Like, his strength is crazy to be able to pick up. Granted, Chase Sherman, I believe, was 240. He might have been the heavier fighter.
That's wild because he didn't look it. He looked like a way tinier man. Which is just goes to show.
Chase Sherman also threw 0 strikes in this fight.
Oh, wow, so it was like some Hamzat level domination in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, the control time for Romanov is listed at 158. So 13 seconds of the fight he did not control.
Wow, that's wild. So yeah, I think with Romanov, man, and so it's so crazy because like I'm just gonna ask you. I'm gonna throw out 2 names, do a little thought experiment here, and then we don't have to spend too much time on it. But it's like, project Romanov versus Tuavasa or Cyril Gane. And then those two are matched up, by the way, which is going to be fire. But I think Romanov can do whatever he wants to those two. And I respect those two, but just the wrestling differential is going to be so – Now, Ty's huge. Ty's way bigger. So that's going to factor in. But Cyril Gane got out-wrestled by Francis Ngannou. You know what I mean? And so what does Romanov do to him? I'm sure he's working on it, but you can't make up that deficit. And then, like I said, I mean, Ty has size going for him. I mean, he's probably close to 300 on Fight Night. But I mean,
and that power,
but I'm just, like, the wrestling skills. You know what I mean? Pretty not one of his strong suits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So who's next for Romanov?
Man, I mean, that back end of the heavyweight division, who you got?
You think it should be someone ranked, right? Like, you think it should be someone ranked?
I think maybe 12 or 11. Give me 11 and 12.
So 11, Sergey Pavlovich. 12 is Shamil Abdurakhimov. I could see Abdurakhimov all day.
Yeah, I can see that.
Then you have Augusto Sakai, Walt Harris, Blagoy Ivanov. I could see Blagoy Ivanov as well.
I could see Sakai. They love feeding Sakai to these guys. I think they fed him to Aspinall, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Or is either Tuavasa or Aspinall. They love feeding Sakai to these young guys. I could see them doing Sakai. I mean, I'm not mad at any of those things. For some reason, I want to say maybe Romanov is friends with Pavlovich or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. Same part of the world. Maybe they might train together. I don't know how. Or maybe the opposite. They could be rivals. I don't know. A lot of geopolitics going on in that part of the world. But but you know what I'm saying? Because Romanov's from Moldova, and I'm pretty sure Pavlovich is from Russia, and they're all teamed up right now. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they'll want to fight, but like I said, I could see Sakai. I don't know. I think whoever it gets, man, it's lamb to a slaughter. I think he's going to be, even if say they give him Sakai, what's he, minus 700 again, and who knows what that gets bet to, right? I mean, or do you feel like, do you think it would be a more respectable? Do you think maybe minus 400?
I think the odds are going to be like he's going to start getting Hamzat odds.
Yeah,
I mean, he just did what he just did. We just went over the stats. The 13 seconds of a 2 minute 11-second fight that you didn't control. So you literally controlled 2 minutes of a 2 minute and 11-second fight. Like, that's insane. And then also your opponent wasn't even able to throw a strike because you were so actively wrestling him.
Did you see? Blades got matched up with somebody, and I'm drawing a blank on who. I could have sworn Blades announced something.
Upcoming fights for Curtis Blades.
Because I feel like that's kind of relevant here.
UFC doesn't have anything listed on their website yet.
Nothing on the website. Okay, that's fine. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I know Gone to Tuavasa. They're trying to headline in France. What's your thoughts on that? Yeah, we're talking heavyweights here. Then we can keep it pushing to the main event. Just initial knee-jerk reaction to Gone versus Tuavasa.
Gone versus Tuavasa. I think I think Gone wins, but I could see Tuavasa landing that big shot at any point, man. But Gone's movement's so good, and he can fight 25 minutes moving.
Yeah,
I think the movement's a big problem.
Wasn't able to land that shot, really. You know what I mean? And Francis is the master of landing the shot, and he's a lot more, I think, athletic than Tuavasa. I think Tuavasa is going to have to try to get his hands on him, like get inside, clinch him up, lay on him, put him on the fence, that type of shit, which is easier said than done. You said that range, that jab, and that movement have gone. Might be problems for Tuavasa, but I also think Tuavasa is more of a dog. I think Tuavasa is a dog. I think I don't know how much dog Cyril Gane has in him. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know about that either, man. I always wonder when Cyril Gane gets hurt, what's going to happen? Because there will come a day when he's in a fight and he gets hit and he gets hurt.
Oh yeah, and it could very easily be against Tuavasa. But yeah, man, that wraps up the prelims. Could talk that all day, hypotheticals, but there is a sick-ass main card that we still have to get to. Like, I literally enjoyed every single fight on this main card. No complaints with card placement, no nitpicking, all fun breakdowns coming up next. We'll be right back coming to this main card.
Yes, sir.